Let me introduce you to Don Freeman. He is the author and the illustrator of this beautiful story of a bear named Corduroy, living in a department store with other animals and dolls. Mr. Freeman, a jazz trumpeter, moved from California to New York City to study art. That is where he met a special librarian. She read one of Mr. Freeman's children's stories and loved it so much that she encouraged him to send it to a publisher. The story was accepted, and thus we have the story of Corduroy the bear. Corduroy is a bear who once lived in a toy department of a big store. Day after day, he waited with all the other animals and dolls for somebody to come along and take him home. The store was always filled with shoppers, buying all sorts of things, but no one ever seemed to want a small bear with green overalls. Then one morning, a little girl stopped and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Oh, Mommy," she said, "look, there's the very bear I've always wanted." "Not today, dear," her mother sighed. "I've spent too much already. Besides, he doesn't look new. He's lost the button to one of his shoulder straps." Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. "I didn't know I'd lost a button," he said to himself. "Tonight I'll go and see if I can find it." Late that evening, when all the shoppers had gone and the doors were shut and locked, Corduroy climbed carefully down from his shelf and began searching everywhere on the floor for his lost button. Suddenly, he felt the floor moving under him. Quite by accident, he had stepped onto the escalator, and up he went. Could this be a mountain? He wondered. I think I've always wanted to climb a mountain. He stepped off the escalator as it reached the next floor, and there, before his eyes, was the most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and rows of beds. "This must be a palace," Corduroy gasped. "I guess I've always wanted to live in a palace." He wandered around admiring the furniture. "This must be a bed," he said. "I've always wanted to sleep in a bed." And up he crawled onto the large, thick mattress. All at once he saw something small and round. "Why, here's a button!" He yanked and pulled with both paws until pop! Off came the button, and off the mattress Corduroy toppled. Bang! Into the tall floor lamp. Over it fell with a crash. Corduroy didn't know it, but there was someone else awake in the store. The night watchman was going his rounds on the floor above. When he heard the crash, he came dashing down the escalator. "Now who in the world did that?" he exclaimed. "Someone must be hiding around here." He flashed the light under and over sofas and beds until he came to the biggest bed of all, and there he saw 2 fuzzy brown ears sticking up from under the cover. "Hello," he said. "How did you get upstairs?" The watchman tucked Corduroy under his arm and carried him down the escalator and set him on the shelf in the toy department with all the other animals and dolls. Corduroy was just waking up when the first customers came into the store in the morning, and there, looking at him with a wide, warm smile, was the same little girl he had seen only the day before. She ran all the way up 4 flights of stairs into her family's apartment and straight into her own room. Corduroy blinked. There was a chair and a chest of drawers, and alongside a girl-sized bed stood a little bed, just the right size for him. The room was small, nothing like that enormous palace in the department store. "This must be home," he said. "I know I've always wanted a home." Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and began to sew a button on his overalls. "I like you the way you are," she said, "but you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened." "You must be a friend," said Corduroy. "I've always wanted a friend." "Me too," said Lisa, and gave him a big hug. And that's why I, little spider, love the story of Corduroy, because it reminds us that everyone deserves to feel loved, just the way they are. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos where I, little spider, tell you a story.